To understand Glencore's business practices, I've decided to look into its past. Glencore was founded in 1974 by American businessman Marc Rich and initially called Marc Rich & Co. AG. I've asked for an interview with Marc Rich, but received no response. Instead, I traveled to Tampa, Florida to meet Morris Weinberg, a former public prosecutor in New York. In 1983, he headed an investigation into the company's tax practices.
There was a big investigation the Justice Department was doing, and in the course of that investigation, 2 businessmen from Texas had pled guilty. And in the course of pleading guilty, they said, hey, there's something we can tell you about some guy named Marc Rich. And they explained to us that they had created with Marc Rich phony deals, making it appear that they had bought some foreign oil from one of Marc Rich's companies and then sold it to another company that turned out to be a Marc Rich company, and by that sold it at a loss, and that by doing that they had literally laundered, sent offshore close to $100 million in only about a 6 or 7 month period. You know, from a trial perspective, if we ever tried it, we had all we needed. During the course of the investigation, we had learned about a series of transactions that Marc Rich had orchestrated with Iran. He arranged for the Iranians to get weapons, basically, in exchange for oil. And so we indicted him for trading with the enemy.
The company and its CEO, Marc Rich, were indicted for tax evasion, tax fraud, and trading illegally with Iran during the hostage crisis. According to Morris Weinberg, Rich and his attorney offered a one-time payment to settle the charges.
Well, he came in the office. He's a big guy. He's a really big guy. Edward Bennett Williams, and everybody, all of my friends were all excited because here's the most famous lawyer in the country is coming in to meet me. And he comes in, he sits down, he puts his feet up on my desk, and we talked about baseball. And then eventually, you know, he said, well, can't, you know, something to the effect of, you know, can't we just get this resolved? You know, we'll just pay some money and, you know, it'll go away. I mean, you know, and then he says something, you know, I know you got a pretty good case here. You know, I know you got a pretty good case, and I just want to, you know, make it go away. And I said, he's going to have to plead guilty. He's going to have to plead guilty. And he says, well, what do you mean? I said, it means he has to plead guilty, and he's going to go to jail. And I think I probably spelled it out like Jail, jail. And he said, woo. And he said, well, why? And I said, and I said, well, look, it's the biggest tax fraud in the history of the United States. If we let him go, how are we ever going to do another case?
The Zambian copper mines were privatized and sold to foreign investors in 2000.
It is fair to say that of all the frauds that occurred in Zambia during President Chiluba's time, the privatization of ZCCM was one of the most significant.
The privatization process has never been officially investigated for corruption, but the president at the time, Frederick Chiluba, was sued by the Zambian state for misappropriation of funds in the London High Court in 2007. Michael Sullivan represented Zambia in the case against Chiluba.
President Chiluba was found liable in damages to the Republic of Zambia in the sum of $46 million for conspiracy to defraud the Republic and for breach of fiduciary duty. Very living example concerns the purchase of extravagant shoes and suits from, in particular, one named Boutique Basile in Geneva. There was spent over $1.1 million, and the clothes which were purchased were found during the investigation into state corruption. I've seen them myself. There were 11 trunks. I mean, I have the